He set it up. I went down there, great man, Hall of Fame baseball coach now. He said, David, I'm going to be honest with you. You get no special treatment. You're going to be out there with the rest of those guys trying out for this team. But I'll give you a fair shot. I said, Coach, that's all I want. 300 outfielders. Outfielders only. Just outfielders. 300. I'm out there doing my thing, working a week long. Running bases. Hitting. Outfield. Throwing. I mean, there is some talent. I'm like, oh my Lord, at least I've had a shot. Then comes a time they said, hey, we would like you to join the team. I did it. And that's also the point. That's where my limited vision was. Because what happened, even more importantly, took place 2 weeks later, was when the coaching staff came to me and they said, hey David, would you be open to, interested in going to Chipola Junior College in Florida for a couple years and then coming back? Where my head and my ego was, I'm like, what the hell do I need that for? I just made Division I program. I ain't doing that. There's a gentleman by the name of Dave Stieb, who ended up being a Cy Young Award winner for the Toronto Blue Jays as a pitcher that I played behind as an outfielder for 4 years. To this day, I give him a hard time saying, you know, if we would have discovered this pitching thing in college, I might have played a little bit longer. But it taught me one of the most important lessons. Are you limiting your greatness? Are you limiting your greatness? Because I did. And I'm not saying I would have gone on and done great things, but the opportunity was given to me, and where I was and how I saw my limited vision was locked in a place where I thought I had arrived. And one of the things I've learned is, just because you get there, that's only the beginning. Reposition that goal. So whatever you wrote down, I'm really challenging. Is that it? Is that really it? Because I will tell you, when you write it down, you're going to achieve it like what happened with Ben. You're going to finish faster. No, you're going to finish earlier than what you thought. Don't limit that. Lesson 1. I had a great opportunity, 1997, to travel with a bunch of men from central Indiana and northern Indiana to a place where some of you Catholics may know of, Medjugorje. And my surrogate father, Irv, is the father of 13 children. He was the one that wanted me to go. So I went. But probably the most important thing of that trip was I met a man by the name of Jerry Henry from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jerry was the oldest of 13 kids himself. His father was actually a corrections officer in some of the prisons up in that area in Fort Wayne. Don't know which one it is. But I said, you know what? I've got to meet this guy, because the story behind Jerry is this. As an oldest child, he would be the one that would go around and collect groceries, and people would leave grocery bags on his doorstep anonymously and help them feed the family, and he was one to make sure that he was out making extra money. Did not even go to college because he knew they couldn't afford it. He decided that he needed to start making his own money. He started a business of just collecting scrap metal and selling it. He finally made enough money to buy a pickup truck, was able then to collect more scrap metal and sell it. Well, in 1997, Jerry owned 6 steel companies. And I said, I have got to meet this guy, and I got to spend some time with him. So from Amsterdam to Chicago, I sat next to this man on the plane because I wanted to pick his brain about his life and the lessons that he's learned. I said, Jerry, what do you attribute your success to the most? He said, David, after he pondered for a second, it's 3 things. He says, my mother always told me, number 1, if I ever stole anything, if I'd have lucky enough to get to heaven, I'd have to carry it around the rest of my life. Number 2, he said, God brings you your first wife and the devil brings you your second one. I'm going against that. My wife liked that one, by the way. But number 3, he said, always be aware you never know who's watching you, whether it's in business, in relationships, in situations that you just might be conducting yourself in a normal situation. You never know who's watching you. He says, and I'm going to tell you a story. Again, Jerry being in the steel business, his biggest client was a company out of Chicago. These 2 brothers owned this company. Jerry knew when the economy started being challenged that he was going to be suffering a little bit if he lost that client. In fact, he said, I was going to have to probably declare bankruptcy. He got in his car, drove to Chicago to meet with the president of the company, but the president would not meet with him because he's too busy, but the younger brother went ahead and met with him. He says, Alan, I just came up here because I really wanted to meet with your brother, but I understand that, you guys are under some pressure too to get projects going. You're under the pressure to make sure that you're fulfilling the financials of your company. He says, I want you to know something. If there's ever a time in a situation that you really need to call me and tell us to kind of drop our price a little bit or to help negotiate through some things, let me know. He goes, Jerry, don't worry about it. You got our business. He goes, I understand now, but I'll tell you, I'm really concerned at the fact that all this pressure. He goes, Jerry, you have our business. I understand, Alan, but truly, Jerry, you got our business. And let me tell you why. He said, do you remember a few years back when you helped to donate the steel that built the AAA baseball park in Fort Wayne, Indiana? And I know that you and your family had box seats down at the bottom. He said, well, there was one game, our family was at that too. He says, you may not remember this, but there was a young adult down to the right, Down syndrome, young adult man, that every time the baseball hit that bat, he was jumping up to hoping that the ball would be a foul ball so that he could catch it. We watched you get out of your seat and go underneath to go buy, obviously, a souvenir baseball and bring it back up. So when that bat cracked one more time, everybody in your crowd made this big hullabaloo. There it is, there it is. The smile that it brought and the joy to that person is why you have our business. Because my nephew has Down syndrome. That meant more to my brother than anything else. Are we doing the right things with the right intention? Are we doing the right things with the right intention? Last night, and think about this week. Of course, I was getting nervous because I know how powerful Ben is up here. And I thought, holy crap, I just don't want to let you down. But a friend of mine that's in the room here today said, hey, we got this event for Marian University. Last night, Lou Holtz and Bobby Slick Leonard was going to be there. You want to join us? I'm there, baby. I don't know if you ever heard Lou Holtz speak, but I'm telling you, that man is probably one of the best that I've ever heard. And Ben will attest to that as well. But I want to tell you a story he didn't tell, but I know about him. Because when he first became the coach at Notre Dame, a week after he'd been on the practice field with all these Notre Dame high-end athletes, speed, athleticism, size, he was sitting in his office, and he's shaking his head, and a knock on the door. Come on in, son. In walked a young man. Sir, you wanted to see me? He says, yeah, have a seat. He says, son, you okay? Yes, sir. Absolutely. He goes, I'm really getting concerned about you because I know one of my responsibilities is to make sure that you, number one, get an education, but number two, that you stay out of trouble in college and that you can graduate and go on beyond here, not necessarily be an athlete, but be a producer in society to help contribute to society. He goes, yes, sir. Is there a problem? He says, son, do you have a drug problem? Coach, what what do you mean? He says, are you sure there's not a problem? You have a drinking problem? Coach, I don't understand. He says, son, I see you out there on that football field. He says, you realize you're probably one of the greatest players in the country? He goes, Coach, I'm just trying to make the team. He says, that's the point. Son, stop playing football. And you walk out this door, I want you to realize you can be the greatest player in this country this year. I don't know if you know who that man was or is. It's Tim Brown, who became a Heisman Trophy winner and was just inducted into the Hall of Fame. And he gives credit to Coach Holtz for that very moment in his life, when that coach saw something in him that he could not imagine. And that's why I do what I do, because a coach saw in me something I could not imagine. And I see that every day in people that I meet, and everyone in here. And there's a lot of my dear friends in here. And there's dear friends in here that I draw energy from myself. But the most important thing is when you achieve those things that you're called to be. Because one of the things that Lou Holtz said last night, this is one of the lessons, and I'm going to go one more last thing. Number one, to leave your legacy, love with passion what you do. Love it. And if you don't want to love it,